Okay, I'll start.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
So it's a continuation of our DML operation using entity object. So
Mm-hmm.
we have discussed about updating the data, right? We just
Yeah,
got to know only save, and yeah, that's it.
yeah,
And create and delete, we have to do it now.
yeah, okay.
So create, read, update, and delete. So read and update are done. So now we have to consider creation as well as deletion. Okay. So
Yeah.
now, like the coding, what we use for the create as well as for the deletion, this will be used subsequently in our future pages also. So it's utmost important thing, and it will be repeated in the future. Okay. So we just need to understand that
Okay.
concept so that we can use it very easily. So now here, if you observe, we have to have two more buttons: create and delete. Okay. So that's the first thing. And what exactly we do on the creation? So let us say if user click, I mean to say create means nothing but inserting a row. So what exactly happens when you click on a button insert row? So the logic what we need to do is here if you observe, this particular table region is attached to a Vivo instance. If you observe here
Mm.
from the OAF page, this particular table region, and in the if you observe these columns, each column will have the Vivo instance and Vivo attribute. So basically this particular data is coming from the Vivo instance. Okay. So now here if you observe, here we have around 15 rows. That's the reason we have 15. I mean, in the Vivo instance, we have 15 rows. That's the reason we have 15 rows in the table region. So what happens is whatever the data which you have in the Vivo instance, that's how this particular table region will get reflected.
Okay.
So nothing but what we have to do is we does not need to concentrate on the table region. We just need to consider our Vivo instance as our criteria, and we just need to insert the data into the Vivo instance. So this particular underlying table region will get reflected automatically.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah. Now, first of all, let's have the buttons. So in the table actions in the region, click on new item, uh, insert row button, and same way we'll have one more button, new item, submit button, delete button. Okay.
Okay.
First, let's try the logic in our AM. So now what exactly we need to do when a user clicks on insert. So the basic thing is when a user clicks on insert row, we just need to insert an empty row in the Vivo instance so that that particular empty row will get reflected in the table region automatically.
Okay.
And to insert an empty row, we require the Java row IMPL also. So if you just click on the Vivo, so here for the Vivo, as of now, we have vivo.xml as well as vivo impl.java.
Mm.
The vivo.xml is a metadata file which will be used by the OAF framework because it has to know which particular query, which particular column, and what are their data types. That information will be available in the vivo.xml.
Yeah.
Coming to the Vivo IMPL, this is for the purpose of OAF, like application module, to know what is the instance of your Vivo, like for all that purpose. Now we require one more Java file that is called row IMPL. So
Okay.
how do you get the row IMPL is double click on the Vivo and click on Java, and here generate Java file. Okay. And here if you observe, we have an option called accessors. So accessors means like for every Vivo. So what exactly Vivo will contain? Vivo will contain a SQL statement. The SQL statement will contain all the columns, and for each column we have attributes, right? These are
Mhm.
attributes. And
Yeah.
if you observe the Vivo, if you observe the row MPL, let me show you that row MPL. This row MPL is nothing but like it's like it's again a Java file, okay, and it is extending our seeded OA view row MPL. It will have all the columns as well as their setters as well as getters. In general, we call them as accessors.
Okay. Yeah.
So like once we write the coding, you can easily understand what is the need of this all set and get method. So for each particular column, by default, it will generate a get method as well as set method. Okay.
Okay.
Now what we do, let's write the logic for the insertion now. So first of all, we have to know in which Vivo instance we are inserting a row. So we are inserting a row into the EMP Evo Vivo IMPL. So I have to get the Vivo instance first. And okay. So what I have to do is now, first of all, I have to create a row. I can create a row using vivo.create row. This is a method. Vivo.create row will create an empty row, and we are assigning that particular row attribute to our row object. Okay, initially here I just assign null value for row object. Okay, and then
Okay.
I need to initialize this row. So row.set initialize. Okay, and then simply vivo.insert row, and then insert the row. So these are the 5
Okay.
lines of code we have to use it.
Okay.
What we are doing is in the line number 34, we are getting a row instance. Like let us say if you consider the PL/SQL array stuff. First of all, if you already have an array. Okay, if you want to insert a new row, what exactly you do? You just need to have one more index and then insert the value in there. The same way, we
Okay.
already have a Vivo. Now we want to insert one more row into this. So here, whatever the data which we insert, this is only programmatical stuff, only at Java level. It is not at the database level. It will not insert the row at the database level. It just inserts the data only at the framework level. I mean to say Java level or application server level,
Okay.
right? Yeah. So now let's write the logic in the CVO to handle this button. So here we need to mention the button. That's it. Okay.
Okay.
Now let's run the page. Now let's click on insert row. Right? Could you see
Okay. Yeah.
the empty row? And
Mhm.
before entering any data, we can also observe from database. Right? So now I'll just enter an EMP number of 15 test 15. Okay,
Okay.
and click on save. Right? And we can observe from the database. Got it?
Yeah.
So
So, Steve, did we write any code for save, or is it automatically taken care of?
for the save button, the only logic which we wrote is just a commit operation. That's it. For the save
Okay.
button, only one single line of statement called aim.getOATP So here applies a very important stuff. So what exactly is happening here is, if you observe, while inserting the row, and we just inserted a row and we just clicked on save, it is inserting a new row. And last time what we have done, we just modified a value and we just clicked on insert, we just clicked on save, it committed the data, right? It updated the data. So now here,
Mm.
without writing any DML logic, we are not writing any PL/SQL DML specific logic, right? There is nothing we have written so far. But
Yeah.
how exactly it is happening is, the entity object is taking care of that. If you observe, let me now show one more thing. So EMP, click on EMP Evo, okay? EMP Evo
Mhm.
IMPL. Now here, just double click on the EMP Evo and click on Java. And here, if you observe, we have something called generate methods, accessors, click on create method, remove method, and DML method. Okay, I'm generating now. Click on apply. Now this will generate the update, delete, as well as create methods. Okay.
Okay.
Now can you see? Create, do DML.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll just click on create method here. Sorry, do DML method. Okay. And now in the do DML method, it is calling the super.do.dml stuff. See, there is already OA entity IMPL, right? That is seeded
Mm-hmm.
entity object. Our EMP
Mm-hmm.
IMPL is calling that. So now what we do is we just want to know how exactly at what point of time this is getting reached, right?
Okay.
So let me show you that inside load DML method. And this will get called when you perform the remove operation.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's rerun and see how exactly it will get called. So do DML means like it can be insert, it can be update.
Okay.
And the entity object will be called for each and every row, whichever is modified. Let us say if you're not modifying any row, if you just click on commit, it will not call the entity object. Okay, because entity object will have a capability to know which row is modified. If at all, if any row is modified, then only it will call. Okay. Now what we do is
Okay.
let us try to modify one row and observe how many times it will get called. Okay.
Okay.
So I'll just try to modify our employee number 15 and I'll just mention the date of joining 1st February 2017. Okay. I'm trying to just
Okay.
modify it. Clear the log first. Now just click on save and can you see inside do DML method?
Mm-hmm.
It is called only
Okay.
once. The reason is because we have modified only one row.
Okay.
Let us say now I'll just click on insert row. Generally it inserts in the first 10 records list. Okay, but that position we
Okay.
can change it. Now 10
Okay.
test 16 salesman. Okay. Now I'll try to click on insert row again. We'll insert one more row. 17 test 17. Now the expectation is, let me enter all. Yeah, the expectation is that it has to insert two rows, right? It has to call the
Mm-hmm.
entity object two times. Let's see that. Got it?
Yeah. Okay.
So for every row it will get called. For every row, if it is updated or inserted or deleted, it will get called.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So that's like it is again onion layer. We generally call it has onion layer like OAF page, CO, AM, Vivo,
View. View.
yeah, and database. So for each row of the Vivo, if it is modified, it will get called by the entity object. So actually, like a Vivo doesn't have any capability. Evo will just sense the rows. Evo will just automatically sense the rows which need to be like which are modified. Then only it will call the database. So this entity object will generate a PL SQL or maybe SQL APIs at runtime. I mean to say it will generate the DML statements at runtime.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Now the
So
remaining, yeah.
sorry, Sri. So the commit we wrote in the save button, right? That will be called only after data is inserted in the database.
No, no, no. See, let us say once user enters all the data, what happens? Your Vivo will have all the latest data, isn't it?
Yeah.
So now, like once you click on save, what happens? Once you click on save, this save button will get called. The save button will get called, and there will be like in the commit operation. In the commit operation, it will validate. Like it is again a background job. We don't know exactly which is validating all this stuff. Okay, but generally, what I know
Okay.
is the entity is the one which will validate all the stuff, and entity object will get called for each particular row.
Okay.
So this commit operation itself is taking care of this one. Commit operation will validate all the entities. Let us, in our case, as of now, we have only one entity. But if you're having multiple entities object also, it will validate each and every entity, each and every row. Then it will call the DML statements.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so
Yeah, commit.
once Evo generates all the DML statements, then your database commit will happen. Else you will not see the latest data in the database, right?
Okay, okay. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, like the next thing is deletion. So when you want to have a deletion, generally like we have to provide user the provision of selection, right? So it can
Mhm.
be a single row selection or it can be a multi-row selection.
Okay.
Okay, we'll try to see multi-row selection, because if you know multi-row selection, single row selection will automatically we can understand.
Yeah.
So now what we do is we already have a delete button, but we have to provide user the provision of selection, nothing but which row they want to select. So here we already have a table region. So we want to have multi-row, like we want to have a checkbox so that user can select multiple rows for deletion. So for this checkbox, like for each row, checkbox has to be displayed, and the framework has to know, framework has to store a value. Let us say if you have a checkbox and if you select a value, how does this framework stores a value into the checkbox? I mean to say, you have a component, until unless
Mhm.
you have an underlying attribute, the framework will not store a value for it.
Employee number or something.
So what we do is like here, we'll just go to the Vivo, double click on the
Mhm.
Vivo. Now we'll just create one attribute. Okay, we click on new
Okay.
and we call it as select flag. Make sure this updatable always. And
Mhm.
now here, if you observe, it shows this select flag as transient. The reason it is called
Okay.
transient because this is not part of the select query.
Mhm. Okay. Okay.
Click on apply and okay. Now click on the page. On the table region, now on the table region, perform right click, click on new multiple selection.
Okay.
And here you have to apply the Vivo instance as well as Vivo attribute property. Select flag.
Okay.
Okay. Now like here, what happens is whenever user selects any of the row, the select flag value will be Y.
Mhm.
And
Okay.
for the other rows, it will be null or maybe N.
Okay.
Okay. So now what we do is like before performing deletion, we just need to understand the Java logic which is required. Uh, Vamshi, I could hear that particular, what you call, are you using speaker or headset?
Speaker only actually.
Okay.
What are you hearing?
No, sometimes I hear like a what you echo kind of thing, but
Okay. Let me try the headphones.
yeah.
Now it's better, Sri?
Yeah, it's good now. So now what I'm doing is like here, we just need to understand the Java logic which is required to find out all the rows in the Vivo. Okay, because to perform deletion, we have to know which row user has selected, that particular row we have to delete, right? So first of all, what we do is we'll try to like I'll create one more button called show details. This particular show details button is only for our developer purpose. Okay, it's not exactly a business logic at all. So I'll just create one more button called show details. Okay, whenever user clicks on show details button, the expectation is that it has to fetch all the rows which are there in the Vivo and just display in the console. The reason is we just need to understand which particular method we have to use for the purpose of fetching the data from the Vivo. Okay, show details. Now let's write the logic in the AM. Okay, so we have our Vivo, and now we just need to have the empty row. But the basic thing is how do you get the data from the Vivo? This Vivo is a placeholder which is having all the data. It's similar to your cursor in the PL SQL. So now if you want to fetch the data from a cursor, you have to use a loop, right? Open, fetch, that's how we have to do it. So in our Vivo also, it is almost similar, not exactly, but almost similar. What you have to use is, I have one particular method called row set iterator. And here again, there are a lot number of ways, like the way you have in a PL SQL, you have a lot number of ways to fetch the data from cursor. You can use a for loop, you can use a while loop, or you can use a do loop, or you can simply write fetch operation many times, how many times you want it, have it, isn't it? So here also we have lot number of methods. So one particular method which I'm using is row set iterator. This is one of the API. Here just we need to create row set iterator object, and we have to create a row set iterator on the Vivo. Vivo dot create row set iterator. Okay. And here just mention EMP iterator. So this EMP iterator is just a user defined name. It can be any name. Okay. So what we are trying to do is we're just pumping all the data into this row iterator object, because whatever the data which we have in the Vivo is not in a readable format. It is not in a programmable friendly readable format, but we just want to read all the data. So I'll just have this logic now. So here I'll just write a loop while row iterator has next. If it is having a next row, then get into the loop. And this row iterator now will have the current row. So I'll just get one by one row iterator dot next. So this will return the current row, like a fetch operation. Okay. Now then what I will do, as of now we just want to display the data, so I'll just rewrite some SOP statements. EMP number, yeah, so ename, okay, and we require one more information. I'll just want to display the select flag also. Row dot get select flag. Okay. So now remember the row EMP logic. So here I am just using row dot get EMP number. If at all, so how are we getting the get information, get method? So while creating the row itself, while creating the row MPL, it mentioned that accessors, right? It was generating accessors. So in like I can simply mention row dot get EMP number. There is another alternative also. Let us say I would like to display salary. Then what I can do is, there is another way you can do it. You just need to mention row dot get attribute. Okay, row dot get attribute, and then you have to mention the column name like this. But row dot get salary, row dot get followed by the column name is a very easier one, rather than writing row dot get salary and mentioning the attribute. That's again a difficult thing, right? Because we don't know what is the data type it will return. Because if you observe for the getters, for every getter you have appropriate data type written, right? So this will not make us confused. If at all, if you're assigning a value to any variable, you will not have an issue if you're using the row dot get followed by the specific column name. But here it will be a generic one. If you see row dot get attribute one, get attribute will generally return you object one. It will not return the specific data type, because a generic object it will return. Okay. But either way we can use it. Okay. Now we'll try to call this logic from our CVO. Okay. Now let's run it. I'll just clear the log first. Now I'll just select first row, okay, and just click on show details and see the difference now. So okay, we got some error. Let's see that. Definition SAL of type attribute not found. So first of all, check whether you have the column SAL or not. We do have, but it is not capital letter, right? That's the issue. That is the issue. Let's try again. Okay. Now can you see? EMP number, ename, and select flag is null for all the rows initially, and we could get salary also. We are able to retrieve salary also. I'll just clear this log again, and now let us say I'll select first two rows and click on show details and see the difference. Can you see? The select flag is Y only for the selected rows.
Okay.
I'll just clear this. I'll try again. What I will do is I will unselect the second row and click on show details and see the difference now. And what difference you see now? It became N. Okay. If selection becomes unselection, the value will be N, or else by default the value will be null. That's how it works. Okay. Now the easiest thing is like like here when the user clicks on delete, now we exactly know how do we delete, right? We exactly know which row need to be deleted. We just need to know where the select flag is Y. That's it. We'll delete all those rows. Okay.
Yeah.
So now let's see that. So what I will do, we can use the same logic. I'll just copy paste the same logic here and we'll use it for deletion. Okay. Delete department rows. And now what I have to do? So I'll just declare one temporary variable, select flag str, and here, so we don't require all these things. Okay.
Yeah.
Is equal to row dot get select flag. And here I just need to write if select flag is not equal to null. Okay. And if Y equals select flag, then we just need to delete it from the vivo row dot remove. That's it. This row dot remove will remove the row from the vivo, not even from the entity. Because if you say entity, it means that it's a reflection of, it's like replica of the database.
Yeah. Okay.
So this row dot remove will just remove the row from the vivo, and automatically it will remove from the table region also.
Okay. Vivo and Evo will be in sync.
Sorry.
The Vivo and Evo both will be in sync.
No, vivo and evo will be in sync when you perform commit. Unless you perform in commit, you will not have a sync, right? Because entity object always represents your database only.
Okay.
And the data will not be committed to database unless you perform commit.
Okay.
Okay. So now, yeah. So either you can have a commit operation here itself, or you can have an explicit commit. Like it depends upon the requirement, right?
Okay.
So we'll just see how do we delete now. Okay. So and okay. Sorry. Now let's run it and see. Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll try to delete the data which I created. So I'll just click on select. Okay. And I'll just click on delete. I deleted 15. Now can you see? It got deleted from the vivo. And but if you observe the database, it still will be there. 15 will be still be there. Now you perform commit and see the difference. So I'll just clear the log also. Now I'll just click on save. And can you see? Again, it went to inside do DML method.
Okay.
Okay, so do DML will be called whenever you perform DML. So the remove method, that's a different one. That was a mistake. So it will just simply call do DML every time.
Okay.
Clear? So how do we remove it?
Yeah.
And now in this particular logic which we are using now, there is a one drawback. So can you guess what exactly it could be? Not technically, but I'm just talking about logically. Like this logic, what happens? Let us say you have 200 rows in the page, and if you are deleting only one row, what happens?
Can you refresh everything?
Let us say what I'm saying is we have this table region and we have an underlying vivo, and assume that as per the query it will show 200 rows. Okay, and now you want to select only one row, and let us say user has selected only one row. So as per the logic, as per the Java logic which we wrote here, it will perform the iteration maximum around 150 times, or 199 times it has to perform the iteration, isn't it? And if it is
Yes.
the best case, it can be 100 times, but generally the worst case, it will be 199 times, isn't it?
Okay. Yeah.
So, okay. So that's the reason what we do is I'll try to show you one more logic, one more easier logic, or maybe the best logic. Okay, we'll see that. So I will not replace this one. Okay, I'll just keep this one as it is, and I'll just create one more method. Okay, show delete emp rows. I'll just set it as new. Okay, now
Okay.
our basic requirement is to delete the selected rows, right? So now here, let us assume that if at all, if you're having 200 rows, let us say user has selected only one row, why can't we just
Yeah.
get that particular row directly rather than iterating all the rows and finding out which is selected? Why can't we just get only the selected row? So that's what we are trying to
Okay.
do. Okay, so
Okay.
there is a logic called, so in the vivo instance, like as we know that like vivo.create row set iterator is the one which we use for the purpose of fetching the data. So we know that all the data is already available in the vivo, so can't we perform the filtering criteria on the vivo? So now we just do that. Okay, vivo
Okay.
dot get filtered rows. Okay, get filter rows, and just need to mention what exactly you want to filter on which particular one. So I just want to filter the data based on my select flag. This is my column name, right? And what is the
Mm-hmm.
value? I just want to get only those particular rows which are
Mm-hmm.
matching this criteria. I don't want to get all the data.
Okay.
Clear? Now it will fetch only
Yeah.
those rows which is having the flag values y. That's it. And we can clearly have logic now. Let us say row length. So I'll just say if row length
Yes.
is greater than 0, then only I will enter into the loop, because there's a provision that like a user can select multiple rows, right?
Yeah.
If it is greater than 0, then only I will go to the loop. Else what I will do, I'll just raise an exception now.
Yeah.
Okay, and now else I can just say int I is equal to 0, I plus plus. That's it. Okay, I'll call the new one now. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll simply click on delete without selecting any data and see what happens. Right?
Yeah.
And right, 17 got deleted, and we can check from database. It will still should be available. Once you perform commit, then it will be removed. And can you see here, when you're removing a row from the Vivo, 1 minute, let me show you clearly.
It's going to do DML again.
Yeah, see. Okay, sorry, I'm checking another page. 1 minute. Here we have our page. See, let us say I'll click on 16. Okay, now click on delete. Okay, when I'm removing the row from the Vivo, can you see here inside remove method? This inside remove method I have written in the entity IMPL. Right?
Yeah.
But as per my understanding, generally the entity object will be called during
Database.
commit only generally. But here this is getting called even when you're removing a row from the Vivo also.
No.
Okay, so
But
that
it
is
will not come
that is
into the database yet.
yes, no, it will not commit. We can also observe that, right? It will not commit. Okay,
Okay. Yeah.
and now once you perform commit, it will call the do DML again, right? It will call the do DML.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So this how like you can perform all the logic. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's all about the entity object stuff. Like we could see all the CRUD operations, right? Create, read, update, and delete. And now here, if you observe in some of the pages, maybe in some standard pages or maybe existing custom pages, they will have an icon for the purpose of deletion. In a given row, they will have an icon to delete a selected row, isn't it?
Okay. Instead of clicking the button.
Yeah. Instead of
Okay.
select. So here in the selection, if you observe, what I have to do? I have to select and I have to click.
2 clicks.
So 2 clicks.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
let us say if you want to have a single selection, we can change this one to single selection, and but still again it requires 2 clicks, right? This will be a radio
Yeah.
button, and again you have to click on delete as a 2 clicks.
Yeah.
Instead
Yeah.
of that, what we can do is we can have a delete icon on each and every row, and user can click on a specific row for deletion.
Okay.
Okay, we'll see that.
So
So
in
now
that
for
case, the page has to be refreshed every time, right?
refresh, that will be like what exactly we do is when you click on delete, it will delete the data from the Vivo, and of course it has to clear. It has to clear the table region.
No. Yeah.
In the same, that is the same case with every functionality, right? Even if you delete, even
Yeah.
let us say if you perform insert, yes, it has to refresh.
Yeah. So if you select 5 different rows and click delete, it will only refresh once, right?
Yeah, of course. See, that's what. See, if it is a multi-selection, this is the advantage. What I'm talking about is
Okay.
like if at all if you have single selection, this may not be the advantage, right? Because sometimes what they do is, see, if it is very sensitive page, they don't want to provide multi-deletion, like a multi-row selection for deletion, right?
Oh. Okay.
In
Oh.
those scenarios. Okay.
Yeah.
So now what we do is here in the table region columns, just have new item, and I will just show it maybe after EMP name or maybe let it be last, no problem. And I'll change this one to image. Okay, now we have to get the icon, right? CG,
Image URL.
yeah. So delete icon enabled. This one, delete icon enabled. Image URI. Okay, now
Okay.
for this one we require a client action.
fire
action and delete underscore event. Okay. So, but how do you know which row need to be deleted? That's a major question now. How do we know which row need to be deleted? Okay. So again, there are different ways in this one, but let us see one particular way. So now here we just have an image, fire action, event, and there is something called parameters. We have something called parameters. Click on the parameters, and here we can just mention the name value pair. What I will do is here I'll just mention parameter, user defined parameter name. We just require EMP name, right? If at all, if you have EMP name, that is enough.
Okay.
Because that is the primary key. OA dot the Vivo instance. OA dot Vivo instance dot attribute name. This is called spell. We call it as spell. And this is called groovy in ADF. Groovy or EL expression in ADF. Of course, there are two scripts which are there in the ADF on the similar technology. And now in our OAF, we call it as spell, simplest possible expression language. So now in our case, what is our Vivo instance? Our Vivo instance name is EMP EVO Vivo 1. And what is our attribute name? EMP number. Okay. So now on the image event, on the fire action parameter, I just need to have this one. Okay. P underscore EMP name.
Why EMP name? EMP number.
Yeah, we can have. Yeah. EMP number. And then this one. Okay. Now this is a variable which will have the current EMP number selection. Okay. Now what is the event name? Delete underscore event, right? So the same logic, remember the first, like the initial classes we discussed about the event logic. That is the logic we have to use now. String event name str is equal to page context dot get parameter. And now how do we get the name? Just mention string, sorry, EMP number. Same thing, page context dot get parameter. That's it. Right. Now we have the EMP number on which user has performed the deletion. And now we have to do what we have to do. We just need to use our filter rows logic, and we have to delete that specific row. Right.
Yeah.
So this delete EMP new row stuff, what I will do, I'll just copy the same existing logic, but I'll create a new method. Delete EMP row new with EMP number. Okay. Now I'll just mention my EMP number. And here, what is the column name? This is your column name in the Vivo attribute, isn't it? I'll just mention this one. And what value you want to pass? We are passing this value. Right? And now row is equal to rows of 0.
Actually, there will be only one row, right?
Yes. That's the reason there is only one row, but still it will generate this get filtered rows is always, it always generates array.
No, you want to get one row, right?
Yeah. Just mention row dot remove. That's it.
Yeah.
Or we can reuse this logic also. We can just have the same method only, and here we can pass EMP number, and just if it is not equal to null, call one logic. If it is equal to null, call other logic. Either way.
Okay.
So okay.
Yeah.
Let's see this. Okay, better I'll insert my data because I don't want to disturb the existing test data.
Okay.
I'll just insert few more rows.
Okay. Or image icon is not showing.
Sorry,
Or image icon is not showing.
no, it is shown. It is showing the last one.
Oh, the very end. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Now let us say we'll try to delete that. Okay. Now let's click on, yeah, let's click on delete. Okay, we can also observe the data before deletion. 20 and 21, right? Now
Yes.
I'll try to click on deletion for the 21.
Okay.
Right? Now click on save. This 21 has to be removed now, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Same logic. And we still have one more logic also. For the deletion, again, we have one more logic. So this is, you understood, right? This logic.
Yes. Yes. Okay.
And now what we do is, we have one more logic, and that logic is, let me write here. We have some concept called row reference. We have a concept
Okay.
called row reference here. So what I will do is, can you see?
Yeah, yes, yes. We haven't defined this parameter, right? Yeah.
Yeah, there are a lot number of
Yeah.
parameters here. I
Okay.
mean event.
Okay.
There are a lot number of event parameters.
Okay. That's
Okay.
okay.
So what we do is, initially, rather than writing the total logic, let's see. I'll just initially just try to print what exactly the value of row reference, and then we'll write the remaining logic. Okay.
Okay.
So now let's run it again. Okay, so I'll just clear this log, and I'll try to delete this one. Okay, 28th row,
Yeah.
and see here. Whenever you click, see here, we just clicked on next and previous, right? At that point of
Yeah.
time, also it will call the PFR method, because this also raises
Okay.
an event. That's the reason,
Okay.
it was showing this one. Now let us say
Mm-hmm.
I'll try to delete this one. Okay, and can you see here row reference value?
Mm-hmm.
When you're trying to delete a row, it is clearly telling the row reference information for us. So instead of the fire action logic, see, we have just used the fire action logic,
Yeah.
right? We mentioned
Yeah.
everything there. Instead of that, the other way, what we can do is, so
How is it taking the default value of 23 employee number because it is the primary key?
oh, no, we have clicked on EMP number 20, right? That's correct.
Okay.
This is, like a row reference, like this is not exactly a programmatical, I mean, this is not a user friendly information. This is a programmatical stuff. Actually, this is a
Okay.
total row reference. What is the aim name, what is the vivo name, and then, like vivo information followed by, like the primary key attribute. That's what it is showing.
Okay.
That is what I understand.
Okay. Okay.
It tries to get only the primary key information, right? Remaining columns it doesn't need it,
Okay.
because if you have the primary
Okay.
key, all the other data you
Yeah.
can easily find it.
Yeah.
Okay, but if you have a row reference, how do you get the information? So for that one, we have like very easy information. What I will do is, here, first of all, I'll write one more method, public void or else here, delete stuff, right? So I just above here, I'll just write emp num with row ref. Okay, I'll just say emp row ref. Now we have a row reference, but how do you get it? See here. So I'll declare row attribute here. Okay, find row by reference. That's it. There is already a method in the EM. See, again, I mean to say this method is already available from the OA entity, OA Vivo, like OA application module. Okay, so I'm just assigning here. I'm just typecasting because this find row by reference is just a generic object. It will just generally written Oracle JBO row. We just need, if you customize what happens, you can get all the data. Right? Say EMP row information, EMP number, row dot get EMP number. Ename. Okay. Now this is one of the very easier method if you observe, isn't it? I do not need to get the Vivo, filter rows, all this logic. Simply call a row with a reference. That's it. Okay. So what I will do in the deletion again. So here I'll just uncomment this one. Now I'll call this one. Okay, got it? What do you require is just the row reference information. Sorry, this we have to call from this one, right? Below one, delete event. Okay. Delete underscore event is for the deletion button stuff, right? And this. Okay. So in the if you observe the difference between the delete button above and delete event here, the thing is in the delete event you are specifically clicking on a specific row, right? That's the reason you're getting the row reference. Okay, that's the difference here. You have a delete event, and based on a reference you're deleting it. So simply calling the a method with the row reference, and once you have this information, and here we have to mention this, right? Row.remove. Right. This we forgot. And let's see that. Now let's run the page. We can insert few rows. $31. Okay. Let's say I'll delete this one. Oh, sorry, here, right? We are deleting 32 now. Okay, I'll clear this log. I'll delete 32. And row reference, can you see 32? Right? Now it went to insert this, like whenever you're calling the remove method in the Vivo, it is calling the entity IMPL remove method also. And now once you click on save, yeah. Okay. Okay, so these are the different alternative approaches for the deletion. We have seen the iterator logic, we have seen the row reference logic, and we have seen the fire action logic, right?
Yeah.
and row set iterator as well as filter rows. In the filter rows, we have one more thing also, but that's like that you can learn it once you get expertise with this one. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so like the basic level of the foundation stuff, like we have finished, and now what we do is we'll get into another level now. And from
Okay.
here on, we starts with a concept called mini project. So what exactly
Okay.
this one is? This is like it seems like a real-time project in which we'll try to cover all the basic operation which we discussed, like the
Okay.
events as well as the DML logic. So again, it's a repetitive
Okay.
step, but with more approach of a real-time implementation. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
So this will cover up two pages. One is search page and another one is DML page. Okay.
Okay.
And from the search page, user will navigate to this DML page. And here, the other important part is like we'll try to display the same DML page in different modes, like a view mode, create mode, as well as update mode.
Okay.
The same page will be displayed based on the event which you select, which the mode which user selects. That's our specialty in this one.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. And this will generally take around 5 to 7 hours. It depends upon our understanding. Okay. So
Okay. Yeah.
it like every day we'll be enhancing the same particular page. Okay. And we'll be seeing
Okay.
how exactly where to use what kind of.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Fine. Yeah. So I'll stop here and we'll start with this mini project in the next session.
Okay. Let's see.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah.